Matt Moscona joins us from ESPN Baton Rouge and New Orleans. You can check out the ID right behind him and check him on after
Branding,
further
my
review.
friend. Branding.
Branding, you've got to do it. Do it much better than I do. But let's look at one of the SEC Western Division rivals. Brett Bielema and Arkansas come into town, scheduled around the expected birth of his daughter, but the arrival came to the household a couple days early, so he came to town a bit tired and groggy, I'm sure, but he always has something interesting to say. Your thoughts about Bielema, and maybe the storyline there is that Arkansas faded down the stretch. They came on strong down the stretch earlier, most seasons under Bielema, but last year the big fade.
Yeah, a lot of hot seat questions this week about Brett Bielema. And really, I'd say there's probably a half dozen coaches in this league that are fielding those kinds of questions here, legitimately or otherwise. Maybe it's fan speculation or media creation. I don't know if administrators necessarily think that. I think Brett Bielema has the confidence of Jeff Long. But truthfully, as schools like LSU and Auburn haven't had great seasons, it seemed like the door would have been open, particularly last year, where 8-4 got Auburn into the Sugar Bowl. Last year was an open door for a school like Arkansas, maybe to take that step. But as you mentioned, they faded down the stretch. They blew a game against Texas A&M. But there was an opportunity legitimately, if Arkansas gets a couple of games, it should have even go back a couple of seasons when they lost to Toledo. Well, you're talking about a team that legitimately, if they could find consistency, could be a 9 or 10 win team. Brett Bielema hasn't found that stride yet at Arkansas. We'll see if he can do it. He's got the top returning passer in the SEC in Austin Allen, who threw for 3,400 yards last season. They do have to replace Raleigh Williams, their back, who had to retire from football because of neck injuries. But truthfully, Mark, the biggest thing about Bielema, that the most apparent thing this week, is how he is now the go-to among SEC coaches for a quote. It wasn't that long ago that this league had Les Miles and Steve Spurrier and these big personalities throughout the league that weren't afraid to throw darts or make bold statements. When you had championship-winning coaches like Urban Meyer, even really dynamic guys like James Franklin at Vanderbilt, there's a void there. There's a void in the star power among coaches in the league right now. And while Bielema hasn't won enough to be that guy, he is easily the most sought-after quote. He's the, I would say, must-listen-to interview at SEC Media Days, just because you're not sure what the guy's going to say next.